Hey folks, it's the Red, and today is March 10th, which means today is Mario Day. To help celebrate on this special day, every March 10th I'm going to be doing a special video about the Mario series in some way. This year we're going to be looking at all the final boss fights in all of the major Mario games that have been released, as well as his handheld adventures. Now, we're only going to be looking at the ones in the main series, so no carts, no parties, no sports, no none of that. Now, we're going to go through and fight each boss under the following rules. Number 1, take no damage. Number 2, no power-ups. And number 3, you must play as Mario. Alright, the challenge is set. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's get right to it. So our natural starting position would be here at the original Super Mario Bros. And really, there's not going to be too much to say here. It's the same Bowser fight that you have throughout the game, except now he's throwing hammers. Basically, if you stay close to him, you can avoid most of the hammer attacks, and then just wait for your chance to run under him. And yeah, he goes down without too much issue. Yeah, it's kind of a dated boss fight by today's standards, but for the first game, it's not bad, and hey, it's not like we're going to be seeing this boss fight again later in the series, right? Right? Evidently not, because in Super Mario Lost Levels, it's the exact same fight, except now we have a bunch of blocks here, and also you can literally just walk right under him. This is kind of silly. I'm not really sure why this is. It was actually harder getting here than it is fighting him. Oh, hi there, Bowser. Yeah, he just sort of stops right here. He doesn't even bother chasing you any further than that. But the thing is, that's not even the real Bowser. If you continue onward, there's still a little bit of level left to go. But then you just run down this hallway, and down the bend, and here's where you encounter the real Bowser. Basically, the only thing that's different here is that he's not throwing hammers, and there's a big wall preventing you from being able to jump over him, which really isn't the best way to fight him anyway. So, yeah, I would actually say this is easier than the first one. Now let's go ahead and meet one of our more unique bosses in the series, someone that we've only seen once and then never again. This is Wart from Super Mario Bros. 2. His boss fight is a bit different. Basically, we have to wait for his mouth to open up, and then we just throw one of these vegetables that we catch out of his little vegetable generating machine, and then that's how we damage him. 6 times, and down he goes. All the while, you need to avoid this barrage of bubbles that can sometimes destroy the vegetables, preventing you from being able to get an attack in, which is a little annoying, but oh well. It's basically just a waiting game, both for your chance to get a vegetable and for your opportunity to attack. Overall, it's not too bad. The bubbles come down pretty slowly, so they're pretty easy to avoid. Though I have to wonder why he keeps one of these things in his rooms like that. Does he hate vegetables so much that he has this vegetable generating machine in his room just so he can spit on them all day? Look, I know a lot of people don't like vegetables, but geez, this guy's got problems. The music here that plays isn't too bad, but I rather like the Super Mario All-Stars version of it a bit better. But, yeah, there we go. He just sort of dies, I guess. And the door to the ending opens up for us. Not a bad fight. It's different, much like the rest of the game. And on we go to Super Mario Land, and our final boss is a cloud that generates birds. Not exactly the climatic battle I was hoping for, but honestly, it's not that hard, and it's not really the final boss. Yes, once we destroy that thing, the real boss rears his head. Meet Tatanka, another of the original bosses, and this one has the honor of being the only boss fight in the series in which Mario is not on foot. So basically you just fly between his shots, which you can destroy with your own shots, but they are a little beefy, so it's easier to just avoid them. And just pepper him with shots wherever you can. I've never really had a hard time with this guy, so yeah, he goes down with not much effort at all. I like the music, though. On to Super Mario Bros. 3 to encounter somebody we're a little more familiar with. This Bowser has decided to abandon the whole bridge idea and just start shooting fireballs at you and occasionally ground-pounding to try and stomp you flat. Now, we need to use this in order to make him break all these red bricks, so that he'll eventually fall down the middle here, and that will be the end of him. Again, it's kind of a waiting game, but you have to wait for that exact moment when he's going to jump up at you, and then come ground pounding at you, and then you need to quickly move out of the way. All the while, you need to make sure that these fireballs are not in a position where you might accidentally jump into them as you're trying to get out of the way. So, to that end, this fight can be a little tricky if you find yourself going in the wrong direction, but overall, I don't find it to be too bad. Also, I really dig the music that plays here. It can also be a little irritating when he breaks just to the left or to the right of where you want him to jump, and then he winds up breaking one of the single bricks, like, off to the right here. But, yeah, with a little bit of timing and patience, you can pull this off pretty easily. Not too bad of a fight, not too hard, not too easy. Next up, we have Super Mario World, and probably one of the most epic entrances to a Bowser fight in the series. I mean, just look at him, he's just dramatically coming down, we've got fitting music, and then suddenly Bowser! Look at his menacingness as he sways left to right in the most non-threatening manner. Seriously, what is this supposed to be? As long as you don't jump into him, there's not really going to be an issue here. Eventually he'll stop and send out these Mecha Koopas that you could just pick up and throw right back to him, and that's how you damage him. We need to hit him 2 times per pass, and then he'll just duck right back into his car, and then Mode 7 fly right into us. Again, this attack doesn't hurt you. Now, if you want an attack that does hurt you, well, these fireballs are going to come down and help out with that. But just keep moving to the left or just jump right over them, and they're not a threat to you. Occasionally, Peach will pop out and throw you a super mushroom, but we have a no power-up rule, so we're not going to take that. For the second phase, he's going to fly directly overhead, so that will make it a little trickier to hit him with the Mecha Koopas. He'll tilt the clown car upside down, and then you can just jump right over his cannonball. I would recommend doing a spin jump, that way you can just bounce on it. Yeah, that's kind of funny. So yeah, after 2 cannonballs, he'll stop again, he'll send out his Mecha Koopas. Try and pick one up and position it so that it will go over his head as you come up to him. Yeah, try not to throw it into the propeller either, because, yeah, that will just make you have to do all this again. And again, it turns into a waiting game as you're waiting for him to send you some Mecha Koopas. Yeah, I'm just kind of showing off here, because I can. Still, I must say, I really dig the music. The music of these games, in the final battles, they're all really great. But yeah, a couple more hits, and we're going to do the Mode 7 fly again. Honestly, I kind of found this Mode 7 flying effect a little creepy as a kid. And then we have ourselves another volley of fire. Just going to wait for it over here now. Bowser returns, Peach pops out, throws you another mushroom in case you missed the first one. And here comes the final part, where Bowser will now try and stomp you with the clown car. Just make sure you're not directly under him, and this shouldn't be too much of a problem. But other than that, we're basically just doing the same thing again. Hit him with 2 Mecha Koopas, and that will be the end of him. The Mecha Koopas will not be destroyed as long as they're not already stomped on, as you just saw just then. But just wait for your chance to attack, throw it up, and there we go. He'll drop Peach, and that's the end of the fight. Mode 7 away! And so we come to Super Mario Land 2 to face the last of our final bosses that are not Bowser. Here we have Wario. I rather like the idea of Mario's rival being the main antagonist of a game. I just kind of wish they would use him a little more. Anyway, for this first phase, it's not terribly difficult. He'll just run around the room, occasionally stomping the ground, bop him 3 times, and he'll run off. There's a carrot up here if you want to power yourself up to Bunny Mario. But again, no power-up rule, so we're not going to do that. That's not going to stop him from using it, though. So, now he's going to start hovering around the room. When you pass under him, he might come stomping down. That will be your chance to jump up and get an attack in on him. When he does stomp the ground, you will be stunned in place, even if you've jumped beforehand, and it will also cause that chandelier that keeps going left and right to fall. Make sure you're not under that when he does stomp the ground. But another 3 hits, he runs off. There's a super mushroom here if you want it. But then we move on to the final room, where we encounter Fire Wario. They make this sound a lot more dramatic than it actually is. But he basically just throws slow fireballs at you, and, yeah, I actually find this phase to be pretty easy. Easier than the Bunny Wario fight, actually. But another 3 bops, he shrinks down, and that's the end of the fight. This was honestly a really fun fight, and probably one of my favorites in the series. Too bad Wario's such a crybaby when you beat him. Alright, on to the first 3D entry into our list, Super Mario 64, and this honestly wound up being one of the more difficult battles that I had when I was recording all this stuff. At least it was the hardest to do without taking damage, which was the big parameter for this. So, here's what you do. You basically have to run around the back of him, grab his tail, and then start spinning him around and around and around and throw him into these mines out in the distance. The thing that I find so difficult about this is, because you're spinning him so fast, it can be a little difficult to time your button press to throw him into a mine. And more often than not, I'm throwing a little wide left and a little wide right. Case in point there, I just completely missed him there. But if you're quick enough, you can get up there and grab his tail before he can get up and start spinning around and round like a record, baby. Round, 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 round. But for the first couple of hits, it's not too bad, because for the most part, you can usually just throw him pretty close to where you need him to be. And then you can just do a short lob to get him to where you need to go. But for the last throw, you gotta throw it from a distance. And yeah, this can be a bit difficult. He'll jump back onto the stage if you miss and throw him off the cliff, and then the shock waves will appear. Just do a quick jump to get over those, and those aren't too hard to deal with. But, yeah, just keep going at it. That really looked like it should have missed, but I'm not going to complain. So, yeah, that's how that boss works. Pretty tough. He's got a lot more attacks, but I kind of stopped him before he had a chance to do any of them. Yeah, this one was kind of tough. It took me over an hour to get this one recorded. And then we get a power star for our efforts. It's a pretty good fight, though, I will say that. Super Mario Sunshine's boss I also found to be a bit difficult. So, here's the rundown. You've got the jet nozzle, and you need to go to each of these 5 points of the hot tub and do a super ground pound to break all 5 of them off. But you also need to jump off of the pillar before it finishes crumbling, or you're going to fall into the bottomless pit. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm running in one direction to make Bowser try and lead his shot to go in one direction, and then I turn around and go to the next pillar. Otherwise, you're just going to have to try and do, either we're going to need to try and get ahead of the fire or do another jet jump to get over it. Kind of like this right here. Build up power, jump right over it, and then you can get over it without too much issue. All the while, Bowser Jr. will be firing all these bullet bills at you. And all that green water, by the way, that's coming out of the pool, if you touch that, you will take damage. And because there's so much of it that comes out, and because it tends to splash around in a rather random manner, it can be really difficult to avoid all that on your way up to the main platform. And yeah, you also need to make sure that you hit the little fireball marker on the platform in order to actually break it. There will also be blue bullet bills amongst the black ones that you see. Ooh, that was a nice save there. But yeah, the blue bullet bills, you can shoot those with your regular water nozzle, and they'll drop a 1-up for you if you really need it, which can also refill your water, so that's nifty to know. But break all 5 of the pillars, and the whole thing goes down. I am Mario, ruiner of vacations! And now we come to the first of the new Super Mario Bros. Games, and finally a return to 2D. After such a long time, and honestly, this is going to be a pretty interesting boss fight. So we find Bowser Jr., he revives Bowser by throwing him into this purple ooze. Also, they didn't bother throwing Peach into a cage or anything, just left her on a high platform? Why can't she get down from there? Anyway, this boss fight, you're basically fighting Bowser Jr. and Bowser at the same time. So what you need to do here is get Bowser Jr. out of the way so that you can concentrate on Bowser later on. And remember that you can do a ground pound for additional damage, and you can actually take out Bowser Jr. in 2 hits that way. It can be a little tricky to avoid all the fireballs while you're trying to get Bowser Jr. out of the way. But yeah, once he's out of there, then Bowser will start using more fire attacks. We're basically just waiting for him to do his usual jump so that we can get right under him and get to the button on the other side. So he'll just whoop, and then we just hop onto here and down he goes. It's like he didn't learn from the first games. The concept of fighting 2 bosses at the same time may seem intimidating, but it's actually a fairly easy fight. Especially if you have power-ups. Oh boy, was this next one quite a pain. I will say this, though, this intro is pretty darn epic. It starts off You got these little green platforms, they shoot cannonballs at them, but they're not too much of a threat. There's also a power-up mushroom over here if you want it, but again, no power-up rule, so we're not going to take that. We will take this one up, though, because why not? And then we have ourselves a little bit of a dialogue with Bowser. Might as well get this out of the way. Finally! You got here just in time to see the creation of my galaxy in the center of the universe. Watch and weep! No, I'm pretty sure that's just the sun. From this galaxy, I'll rule a great galactic empire with Peach by my side. It will last forever. I will rule every pinnable corner of the universe. So, Mario, as you can see, I got big plans, and stomping you is at the top of my list. And so he roars us onto his little battle planet here, and here's where the fight begins proper. He often stomps around and creates these energy rings that you'll have to jump over every now and then. Then he rolls into a ball. Make sure you spin into him when his head is aligned with your fist, and you'll be able to start knocking him around with your spin attack. A couple of hits, and we'll be able to move on to the next planet. But yeah, the second hit is basically the exact same thing. Just make sure you're moving away from him to ensure that you have enough time to find out where his head is so that you're spinning at the right place. Because if you spin any part of the rock, you're going to wind up taking damage instead, and that's not good. So, on to the second planet. He'll start by shooting a bunch of fireballs at you. They can come at you kind of quick, so be ready to move out of the way. And then he comes at you as a spike ball. Now we need to spin each of these little green balls into him, so it knocks him onto his back, and then we can do our usual technique to damage him. And repeat again, this time with a little more fire that we need to watch out for. Only like a couple more fireballs, actually. The rolling spike ball attack that he does can really catch you, because it comes at you awfully quickly. And I often have a hard time moving around on these planetoids in order to avoid it. Like, sometimes when I want to go to the left, Mario will instead go up or down. So that gets a little irritating from now and then. But now we come to the last part. And once again, we're going to have to jump over the rings. And the rolling attack. This part should look familiar from the first time that we encountered Bowser in this game. He'll come stomping down. We want to try and make him stomp on one of these little glass domes here. It seems like there's a lot that you need to keep up with, but it's not too bad. Spin his tail, send him spinning out. Honestly, by final boss standards, it's not that bad. The tricky part is trying to do this no damage, of course. Still, if you know what you're doing, it's not too terribly bad. We got another barrage of fire here. Either do a high jump over those, or just move out of the way. And a lot more rings. This part really trips up a lot. I have to be really careful about jumping over that last one, because shortly after jumping over the last ring, he starts spinballing towards you, and he really doesn't leave you a whole lot of time to get out of the way of his impending rolling attack, so it's very easy to wind up getting hit by that. Yeah, he only comes stomping down a couple of times, so you have to quickly get into position so that he will try and stomp on you and start running off with his burning tail. Yeah, get out of the way! Okay, that was really close there. That's what I mean. This is a very easy fight to wind up getting hit by, but of course, if you take any damage, there's some coins nearby that will heal you up. But let's just go ahead and get these last couple of hits in. Wow! And that's all there is to that. Bowser goes tumbling off into his galaxy, and presumably just burns up again. So yeah, the fight can be kind of tough, especially to try and do no damage, but it is perfectly manageable, and if you ask me, it's a pretty epic and fitting finale to this rather excellent game. So, yeah, good one. Next up is New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and we're going down a rather familiar hallway. We've got fireballs coming at us, kind of similar to how it works in the first game. Now, surely Bowser isn't going to try the same trick that he tried already, is he? I mean, surely this isn't leading to yet another bridge fight. This is kind of a long hallway, though, compared to others. But we go inside and, yeah, it's another bridge fight. But at least they bothered to put Peach in a cage this time, so she doesn't just jump off that high platform. But just like every other bridge fight before it, we're basically just waiting for Bowser to do his big high jump so we can run under him and hit the button on the other side, and, yeah, it's like he didn't learn anything at all. And so, we win the fight. Or did we? Let's go ahead and get Peach down, shall we?
Huh?
That princess is a spy! Yes, turns out it was Kamek in disguise, who then uses some magic in the hole that Bowser just fell down. I rather like this idea because of the callback to Yoshi's Island that it was. And then a giant Bowser comes out! I like this roar effect that kind of pushes you backwards at the very beginning. It's kind of cool. But basically, now he's going to shoot giant fireballs at us that can actually destroy the terrain around us, and we need to use this in order to lead our way forward. Lead the fireballs into these walls so that we can push forward. It can be a little difficult to get the fireballs where you want them to go because there's so much terrain in the way that it has to first burn through. It usually does help out a little bit when Bowser comes moving forward. There's also some question blocks around here. They all contain mushrooms or other power-ups if you're already Super Mario. But, again, no power-ups, so we're not going to be taking any of that. I usually stick to these lower paths because delicious coins. But then we come to the second part of this running race, and we're going to have a lot of floating platforms around. These ones won't be destroyed by Bowser when he gets to them. But basically, as we move forward, we need to keep an eye on his splashing around in the lava, because as you can see, it's creating some ripples in there, and if we touch that, we are going to die. And as usual, we still need to watch out for the fireballs. That was kind of close there. Get a nice little wall jump to save myself. And basically, just don't jump until you have clearance to do so, but don't hang around too long, otherwise Bowser will catch up to you and just bump right into you. But overall, as much of an epic setting as this looks like, and that really looked like it should have hit me there, but I'm glad it didn't. Yeah, this is a pretty nice final boss setup. This is another one of my favorites in the series, if I'm totally honest. It can be kind of difficult to get through here when you're big, but eventually you do make it to the end. Bowser, just waiting for Bowser to get on screen, but I guess that's about as close as he's going to get. So we'll pop the button. And then he's going to get flushed. I'm not sure how that works, why he has a button that does that to the lava, but whatever. And that was the boss fight. Again, it starts out pretty standard, but then surprises you with that big chase sequence, and I rather like this one. Next up, we have Super Mario Galaxy 2. Before you run into this portal over here, run over to the left and you can find one of those power-up mushrooms that will give you 6 life bars. That, of course, is if you want it, but we're playing with no power-ups, so into the gate we go. And it'll take us straight to the final boss, after a quick little cutscene here. We grow 'em big here. Gah! Give it up already! Why won't you stop trying to mess up my awesome master plan? I'm building my new galactic empire right here, and you can't stop me. Why don't you just run off and go find some green pipe to hide in? He found the princess's one true weakness, a bubble! But we're not gonna stand for this. Can't you see that I'm busy here? Not really. I don't have time to chat, so let's cut this short, shorty. And so we begin the fight in another planetoid again, only this time Bowser is much bigger than we are. So naturally we're not going to be able to attack him quite like how we are. He's going to start by trying to punch the ground where you are. There's a nice glowing effect to let you know where it is. And then of course some shockwaves will come out of the ground. They're easy enough to avoid. He'll try it again. The lasers go in the same direction. And then finally he'll summon some meteorites to come falling on to where you are. I try to land onto them after they've already hit the ground so that I can more easily avoid the energy attacks. Then when he hits the ground, the meteors will be levitated into the sky, then you just do a ground pound to attack him with them. He'll do this same attack again. The weird thing about this fight is, despite him being a giant, he's actually going to take less hits to bring down this time around. That really looked like it should have missed, but I guess it hit him in the foot. And then we come into the next part of the fight. He starts out by doing the same punch attack. The lasers don't really come out any faster. Here comes the meteorites again. Once again, try and jump on top of one to avoid the rings, but then he's going to quickly come at you with his fire breath attack. And the fire can actually hang around on the ground for a little bit, so it can be a little difficult to maneuver around it when he comes back around to try and hit you with it. But then he'll do his punch attack again, and that will be your cue to send another meteorite into his face. Other than that, not too much else I need to comment on here. He'll come at you with another fire attack. This one will last a little longer than the one before it, but not much longer. Try and lead his fist away from where the meteorites are so that he doesn't punch the meteorite that you're trying to hit into him. But after 4 hits, he'll lose the Grand Star and shrink back down. Well, that was actually a pretty easy fight, wasn't it? Didn't even need as many hits as before. And then he gets sucked up in a black hole, I guess? So the Grand Star comes floating back down to the platform. Right in front of the chair so that we can go and collect it. And so you run up to it and go and collect it thinking that you've already won, but then Bowser comes out and steals it from you just like that. That's not food. And, of course, becomes a giant again. Hey, guess what, Mario? Breathe a sigh of relief, because it'll be your last. Know why? Because this is finally the end. The end of you! Yes, we come to the true final battle of this, if you can even call it that. You may remember that I listed this battle as number 9 on my easiest boss fights list. I don't know that I would call this one of the easiest ever anymore. Well, especially because I just completely missed that shot there. And again, yeah, I don't have the best of aim, so if you're not very good at aim, you might have a little difficult with this, but basically just line yourself up so that you can ground pound these balls into him, and if it looks like you're about to get hit by him, quickly jump to the other ball so that you don't get punched while you're standing on it. That was kind of a close one there, and I'm kind of surprised that didn't hit me, actually. But, yeah, just wait for him to get into position, and, line yourself up to ground pound the ball into him, and that's the way to take him out. Right in the nose. And that's all it takes to bring him down. It's not quite the epic battle as it was in the first Galaxy game, but it's a good one nonetheless, I think. Just kind of ends on a rather anticlimactic note, I think. Next up we have New Super Mario Bros. 2, and another familiar walkway with the fireballs that we need to avoid along the way. Yes, he's going to try the exact same thing again. This is the exact definition of insanity, folks. It's trying the same thing again and again and expecting a different outcome. That's what Bowser is doing right now. This literally looks exactly like the one from New Super Mario Bros. Wii. But we'll throw him a bone. This time he's going to throw a few hammers at us. That's literally the only thing that's different about this fight. He throws them, he jumps, you land on the button, and that's the end. Looks like there was a bit of a delay on that button, actually. I think you were supposed to react. But oh well. That's the end of Bowser, but that will surely be the end of him this time, right? Oh, but then the Peach gets hoisted away. So, now some platforms are going to come around. By the way, I'm not in control of any of this. This is all automated. I don't know why it needed to be. I could easily make those jumps myself. So, we jump up to a higher section of the castle. Peach is hoisted further up. And oh look, the Koopalings! We were fighting them all throughout the game. And now they're going to do something similar to what Kamek did in New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Stunningly similar. Like, everything that happens in this sequence is verbatim what Kamek did in New Super Mario Bros. Wii. They do the magic, they look down, where did Bowser go? And then get knocked out of the way by the giant Bowser. This one works a little differently, though, because, well, now he's in the background and he's taking swipes at all these platforms that you need to go ride up as the lava level is going up. You're slowly scrolling your way to the top. The thing is, his swinging attack that he's using to break all these platforms, it goes so slowly, and it's very easy to get out of the way of that. It's like, you've got like a solid 3 or 4 seconds before the claws actually make contact with the platform, so you don't exactly need very good reaction time to be able to get out of the way of this attack. Once you reach one of these floors, he'll breathe fire along the floor. You can easily get over that with a wall jump, or just jump over it regularly. It's not a hard attack to get out of the way of. But now we're going to do the same thing again. This time now we have some Bowser statues off to the left and right that will occasionally shoot fireballs at you, so that'll be something else to watch out for. Not too much, though. They're only really a threat if you're aligned with them, which for most of this fight you're not. I mean, you see it right there, it's shooting a fireball even though I'm well above it. There's a couple more statues here, but I don't think they shoot anything here. But you can pretty quickly make it up to the next floor. Well, waiting for Bowser to get here. Okay. Now he's going to start doing his floor attack again. Once again, do a wall jump. There's not much else that I need to say here. It's a wash, rinse, repeat at this point. But, that being said, we do have a couple more statues coming up ahead, and they're going to shoot some purple fireballs that will home in on your position. So they're a little harder to avoid, but not that much. There's plenty of platforms around here that you can jump to in order to avoid it. So really, this whole fight shouldn't really give you a run for your money. It certainly didn't for me, because I actually did this on my first try, if you can believe it. Both in practice and in recording. But, yeah, just jump out of the way of the claws, and that's all you really need to do here. I like that it uses the dramatic music from New Super Mario Bros. Wii, even though I think it's a little, shall we say, disappointing that they didn't bother coming out with anything different. Even this animation here at the very end seems to be about the same as from Wii. We're just seeing it from a different perspective. It's kind of a disappointing final boss, if I'm totally honest. A lot more could have been done here, but oh well. It's there, it's alright. Not my favorite in the series, if I'm totally honest. These types of boss corridors are getting tiring, if I'm totally honest. Yeah, we're at New Super Mario Bros. U now, and things really haven't changed much at all, have they? We've got more fireballs, we're slowly making our way to the right, having our final confrontation with Bowser with, where else, another bridge battle. Seriously, how many times are you going to try this? It's time for a new trick, Bowser. You've tried this like 6 times now. It doesn't work. Alright, so we'll just wait for him to do his jump attack. We know what animation we need to watch for. There it is. So we just run right under him. And then we bump the button and down he goes again. A little bit of hang time there. And I think we all know what's going to happen next. Yes, the door's going to open and then we're going to proceed. No, just kidding. Kamek's going to be here, courtesy of Bowser Jr., and he's going to do his usual magic shtick with his wand. Magic time! You know, I rather enjoyed that novelty back in New Super Mario Bros. Wii because it was a nice callback to Yoshi's Island, but now it just seems like that's the only idea they ever go with. But anyway, we make ourselves outside of the castle, and we are going to head on up the stairs. And we're making our way to the true final battle. We can kind of see Peach in the background there. This is a lot of ground to cover. Oh, hi, Peach! I find this scene right here kind of weird. So yeah, iron bars close on her, and then a stone door closes behind that. Like, that's kind of redundant. Why not just have the stone door? Why do you even need the bars? And then Giant Bowser appears. Except now we're going toe-to-toe with him, and he's not swimming around in lava. And we also have Bowser Jr. to contend with as well. If nothing else, I appreciate the fact that they at least changed the music for this fight, and we're not just doing the same thing again. Bowser Jr. will come stomping down with his mini clown car. We just jump on him, and then we can steal it, and then shake the remote to bump Bowser on the head with it. Then Bowser will come spinning towards you. We just need to run away from him. He'll usually jump over you right as he corners you at the screen. Nice of him to do that. But, yeah, if you just keep running in one direction, he'll never catch you. Eventually he'll get tired of spinning, and then he'll bring down a burning rain of fire upon your head. They come down pretty slowly, so they're pretty easy to avoid, but Bowser is slowly walking towards you, so you also need to make sure you're moving away from him at the same time. But again, nothing too tasking there. Some bombs are going to get thrown into the mix, so you're going to need to watch out for those, because Bowser's fire will set them off, and if you're standing next to them when they explode, well, put two and two together. If you're quick enough, you can usually get back inside Bowser Jr.'s clown car and possibly get a second attack in, but it can be kind of hard to do that with Bowser usually hovering right over it. But other than that, we're basically just doing the same thing for this third hit here. Here comes the raining fire once more. It's good that they zoom out so much, so you have plenty of time to react to everything that's coming your way. Though it winds up making Mario look awfully tiny on the screen. Hopefully you're not playing this on a small TV, because it'd be kind of hard to see what's going on then. But we basically just fly up into the Koopa Clown car. Make sure you do it quickly before he gets that last attack in, and that should be the end of him. 3 bops in the head, that's all it takes. And then he falls over backwards. So, yeah. It's a pretty decent fight. It actually kind of surprised me a little bit. It's a little tough to do all this without getting hit, but entirely doable. Not the hardest fight in the world. Alright, now for Super Mario 3D Land, and, well, it is kind of another bridge fight, but this one has at least got a little more going for it. So it starts off with us jumping across these spinning rocks. These look harder to jump across than they actually are. Some of the jumps do look kind of tight, but thanks to Mario's slower jumping speed, it's a lot easier to line up where you need to be, and of course you can always use the drop shadow to determine where you need to go. Bowser does his usual stomps, which cause these shockwave rings that you'll need to jump over. Make sure you jump every time he lands, so that you don't wind up getting caught by that. And all you really need to do is position yourself in such a way that will make him jump out of the way of where you need to go, so that you can pass by on the bridge. So nice of him to do that. Besides breathing fire, he also has this spinning tail attack, so make sure you're not getting too close to him because of that. But other than that, we're basically just playing a little bit of a waiting game so that he'll get out of the way and you can move forward. Just make sure you don't jump into those lava bubbles at the end, and then you'll be able to press this button and send him crashing down once again. So yeah, we had a bridge battle that was actually something of a challenge. Look how much more needed to be added for that to happen, though. But once again, his own button is leading to his doom. And presumably he's dead, if that skull icon is anything to go by. Now we have Super Mario 3D World, and this one is going to be considerably longer than the one in 3D Land. We've got quite a tower that we need to climb here, and Bowser's going to be standing in the way every step of the way. And he's going to be adopting a strategy that Wario used in using our own power-ups against us, apparently. So he uses the Super Bell, and transforms himself into Cat Bowser. And he makes a ridiculous meow sound. So, yeah, throughout this boss fight, we're going to have to deal with Bowser using all of their different power-ups throughout this boss valley. And all the while, the screen will slowly be scrolling its way up. So, we're also going to be having a bit of a waiting game. Basically, you need to be paying attention to the environment around you, because Bowser can pop out of literally anywhere, although he does follow the same pattern every time you do this fight, so first-time players might be caught off guard by a few of these placements, like that one right there. If you don't see that little rumble at the top of the screen, you're not even going to know that he's going to be coming down there. I feel like the tell there could probably be a little better, Like, the ones where he jumps up at the very bottom of the screen, you can see that he's going to come climbing up. That's not so bad, but the ones where he comes down from the top, those ones I think are kind of mean. See, all you have to go by are those little crumbling rocks there. And then, of course, when he passes through the clouds, you can't stand on them for a little bit. There's also plenty of power-ups along the way to keep yourself, allows you to take a few hits, if you are allowing yourself to take hits every now and then. And I guess I'll just wait here for him to wait for a chance. Give him a chance to throw out an attack here, like this little, boiling grape soda or whatever this is supposed to be. But just run under the power block and you'll send him flying off. But that's not the end of this fight, unfortunately. Go ahead and grab the clock, and then we're going to go up this little pipe for a little cinematic preview of what's to come. Bowser's going to continue to follow us upward. And this might be a good time to let you know that there were other power-ups in this game, such as the Double Cherry. So we're going to have multiple Bowsers that we need to watch out for as we go on up. Some of them have cat suits, some of them have Tanuki suits. And I'm not going to take that checkpoint because that's going to make me big, and that would violate our no power-up rule. And we're kind of waiting for the screen to scroll up a little bit. Notice how this wall is a little cracked here. That's because there's going to be a Bowser. It's going to just sort of Kool-Aid Man right through there. And we're not going to jump quite across yet because we have a Tanuki Bowser who's crossing the road, as you can see. And a lot more cracked walls to look out for. There is a lot that you need to look out for around here, and that's part of the reason why I think no damaging this particular fight can be a bit challenging. It's entirely fair. I mean, any hit that you do wind up taking, it is indeed your fault if you did take it, because there are all of these attacks are pretty well telegraphed, except for the ones where the Bowser is coming down from the top of the screen. Those ones I think could be a little better, but overall, this whole fight is entirely doable. But now we just need to make our way up the tower. We're getting pretty close now. But as we turn each corner, we're going to start running into suddenly cracked walls, so make sure you're not going too far forward too fast. Kind of just need to rush under that one. One more Bowser here, and then there's a giant power block at the very top that we will use to take out all the Bowsers at once. Now make sure you're paying attention to the 4 Bowsers as they climb to the top of the tower, because they are breathing fireballs as you're trying to hit this power block. But 4 hits of that, and down he goes. I like this little slow motion effect of him trying to grab the jar. So yeah, it's somewhat of a challenging fight if it's your first time through, but if you know where all those Bowsers are going to appear, it's not too bad. Kaboosh! And so we come to the last game in our list, Super Mario Odyssey, and I understand this game came out fairly recently, so if you haven't played this game yet and don't want to be spoiled on the story, I would suggest you stop watching the video at this point. This is my last boss that I'm showing off. Wahaha! Crashing the wedding, Mario? That's tacky even for you! Also, that outfit isn't nearly fancy enough for the occasion. Not that matters since you weren't invited, so now it's time for you to make like a bouquet and get thrown out. So, yeah. Get ready, Mario. Just gonna say it right now, this boss fight gave me quite a headache because of one specific attack. We'll see it in a bit. Here's your happily ever after! Alright, so he starts the fight by throwing his hat at us, but we can throw our own hat at it and then take control of it. He'll jump around with his usual fire ring attack. Just kind of try and chase him down. He'll throw these castle blocks at you. You can punch those out of the way. Then we just need to start punching at him. He'll block all of your attacks and then do a tail swing at you, leaving him vulnerable so that you can actually damage him. Now we just need to do that 2 more times and down he will go. Now, this attack right here I find really difficult to avoid. The sweeping fire attack can come at you rather suddenly, and it's really easy to wind up getting caught by that. I find that the best way to avoid it is to do a high jump and then use Cappy to kind of give yourself a little more air time so that it will pass under you safely. Then you'll start sending out decoy caps at you. Those are easy enough to avoid, but you can also use your own cap to get rid of them if you feel the need to do so. Ooh, that was kind of a close jump there. Now he's going to start throwing spike balls at us. We're going to need to move out of the way of those. We can't punch them or we will take damage. And then we're basically just doing this again, except now we have 2 tail swings that we need to jump over, and then we can go ahead and damage him. It's a simple enough fight once you know what you're doing. It's just that sweeping fire attack that I find really difficult to dodge. So many of my runs failed because of this attack right here. And there's no telling when it'll start coming back. I mean, it seems to follow a pretty similar pattern, but yeah, then it could suddenly just turn around on you like that. You really have to be on your toes for that. Now he's going to have a lot more decoy hats. Once again, you can use your hat to get rid of the excessive ones so that you can get to the real cap. And now we just need to chase him down one more time. He doesn't do any additional jumps, so avoiding the fire rings isn't that hard. Here come the spike balls again, and now we just need to punch him down. It ain't no punch-out. 3 fire jumps that we need to make. But he's going to continue blocking, so we need to jump over one more, and then we can take him out for real. So yeah, if you allow yourself to take a few hits here and there, specifically for the fire sweeps, it's not really that hard of a fight at all. Still, makes for a pretty nice finish. Peach comes on down, and that's pretty much the end of the fight. There are some segments after this part, but I don't really consider them part of the boss fight, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it right here. And with that, we have come to the end of the Super Mario Final Boss compilation. Which one did I find the most challenging? Well, if the amount of time that I spent on each boss is anything to go by, I would say that the Mario 64 one wound up being the most difficult, because I spent a little over an hour trying to get a no-damage run of that. It's a simple enough boss fight if you know what you're doing, but my aim, ugh. But with that, thank you very much for watching, and happy Mario Day to everyone! This is the Red, see you next time!